Hello everyone. So basically I just wanted to make this video to talk about Liminal Land. As you can hear, I'm pretty sick right now, but I just had to speak my mind on this. Basically, Liminal Land is the project Nightmare Expo and Nick Crowley are working on currently. They both announced it not too long ago in descriptions of their latest videos. And I just wanted to sort of talk about it, what I think about the project and stuff. Just to be clear, I don't mean to be too alarmist when I call this the death blow or the last nail in the coffin for liminal spaces. I'm not saying everyone should just pack it up and move on because it's all ogre now, but I do genuinely think this is the start of the end for liminal spaces, and I'll get into why I think that. Nexpo and Nick Crowley are huge creators in the horror/creepy space on YouTube, and I'm a big fan of their work. They make really good videos on topics I really like. In any case, Liminal Land. It's a project that's a bit difficult to explain to someone who might not be familiar with the subject, but the best that I could come up with is it's a writing/world building project, or whatever you would want to call it. Being super into creepy stuff, obviously this sounds awesome. I was immediately interested and clicked the link so I could find out more about this project and website. So I would really recommend everyone just go to the URL, just visit liminalland.net and give it a look. It'll tell you far more than I could tell you. So at first glance, the site has a pretty cool landing page. It looks pretty promising. It definitely got me interested, so I looked around, and the first thing you notice obviously is the links that lead to different pages. And well, the first thing I would be interested in, I assume everyone else as well, would be the attractions page. So let's check that out. First thing I see here, first picture, it's just the back rooms, which is kind of on the nose, but I suppose it's some kind of homage or love letter, and I assume they have some kind of original take on it. So I wanted to know more. I click on the picture and I see, well, nothing basically. To be honest, I visited this on my phone the first time, and I thought it might be like a format issue or something, like maybe the page isn't loading properly because I'm checking it on my phone. But sure enough, I open it on my desktop and I see that there really isn't anything more to these attractions other than a picture and like a line of flavor text. Which is kind of disappointing, not gonna lie, since this is like probably the first page people would click on. It's the, well, main attractions, of course, and people would probably want to know more about it. So I clicked through them a little and they're pretty much all the same, which isn't great, but maybe they just want to leave these open to interpretation, which could work. I don't really have any issues there. At the bottom there's like this in-character input box to what I assume would put you on an email list so they can contact you with news and offers in the future. So next page, accommodations. This page has a lot more text to it, which you can read if you're interested. This one definitely has more lore bits to it, which is nice, good job. There's more pictures here, and what I like about them is that they have this like filter to them, which makes it really ambiguous as to how they were made. Like, I can't tell if they've been like AI generated or 3D modeled, or might even be real life. I think that one's pretty cool. The page isn't too elaborate, but I think it's pretty good. Alright, next page, the archives. Now this one in my opinion is the best page on the website. It's awesome. There's like almost 3 full pages worth of content. There's pictures, there's lore, there's even a video. Honestly, visit this page first. This one is sure to get you in the mood. Click on any picture and it's so satisfying. There's additional pictures, there's lore written, you can dive deep and get lost in this world. They did a great job on this page, and I really think they should move this page up to the top in the list. I know it might not make sense for a hypothetical amusement park website, but I just think it's so important that people find this page first. Now that I'm done drooling over the archives, next page, the gallery. This one honestly doesn't have much to say about. Seems to just be a bunch of pictures taken at the park. They're distorted and creepy, cool to look at, but not much else. The next page is called Park Closure 1989. Page seems to be password locked. I tried typing in Liminal Land as a Hail Mary, which as expected didn't work, but I'm sure the password is floating around there somewhere. My guess is it's probably in the video featured in the archives page. I can't wait to find out what's in here when I figure out the password, but as is, I can't really say much about it. But it's really cool, really fitting. Next page. About Liminal Land. Good page, some lore, some pictures, probably a good introductory page. Honestly, I'm not sure why they didn't make this the landing page, or at least put the page at the top, but I assumed they just wanted to make it look authentic, as in a genuine website for a theme park, which makes sense. The next and last page is called Emporium, which is honestly for me the somewhat disappointing part of this project. But before we go there, let me talk about the website's URL. You might have noticed that the URL for this website is visitliminalland.net, which is a somewhat specific URL, and you might think, as I did, why didn't they just call it liminalland.net? Well, I would say .com actually, but .net is alright too, I guess. Like most people, you would probably assume that, well, the domain must have just been taken. Well, you'd be right, the domain is taken, but it's taken by themselves. They took this domain. I would call this the main domain. This would be the focus, right? Just think about it. What are you more likely to remember as a URL? Visit liminalland.net or liminalland.net? In any case, this leads me to the last page, which I can't even call a last page because it's just not. It's a different website. The actual website. Bing, a storefront. Here you can get your Liminal Land themed clothing, which is kinda disappointing because it makes it seem like this apparel store is the main draw of this all, and the actual project is just a side attraction to incentivize you to buy the merch. As a creative myself, I want to make it clear that I'm not against creatives making money in any way. Like others, I think it's important to get paid for your art, whether it be through commissions, collabs, merch, ad revenue, etc. Creatives getting paid is very important. First of all, obviously, creatives are human beings who need money to survive, but also it's very healthy for the project. A good revenue stream allows the project to stay alive, grow bigger, and more elaborate in scope. Really, it's a win for everyone involved, provided the money is made in ethical ways, of course. Sadly, despite what I've just said, I have some problems with the approach they took for this project when it comes to the storefront. As I've mentioned already before, I'm really disappointed that the main URL for this project is the storefront. I really think it betrays the focus of this project. It makes it look like this is a merch line first and foremost, and actual Liminal Land is just a side thing to complement it, which honestly, maybe it is, but if it is, they should at least pretend it isn't. Now to the actual content. I don't think I need to go through the pages like with the other website, since I can just go to the page called Shop All and it should show me everything here. So what's in here? Well, first I want to mention the prices. Honestly, I think the prices are pretty fair. I have not checked shipping costs, but taking the prices as is, I think they're reasonable. No one's gonna go homeless over a $50 hoodie or a $30 dad hat. I think that name is pretty funny, by the way. I don't think if that's like an actual thing, but that's pretty good. The sticker sheet is a bit pricey, maybe, but all in all, the prices are good. My problem with the merch is that they're, well, somewhat underwhelming. I don't want to use words that are too harsh, because being a creative myself, I know a lot of work goes into these, and I don't want to undermine all that effort. However, I do have to note that the designs that they used here are not all that eye-catching, unfortunately. So when it comes to the beanie and the hat, stickers, they just use logos and the name, Liminal Land. Not great, but definitely not terrible. They're fine. When it comes to the shirts and the hoodies, there's three major designs that I see. The first one is this I survived Liminal Land print. It has text, logo, and a phone number. I don't live in America, so I couldn't check whether that phone number works, but if it does, that's really cool. Of all the prints, I think this one is the best. It's on brand, it's mysterious, it's got some cool flavor text to it. I really like this one. It's not particularly my thing, but considering the rest, this one is probably the best out of the bunch. Second one. This one I feel is pretty uninspired. There's just so little to it. It says, I got lost. It has a mouth and a roller coaster track wrapping around it. It's pretty simple, and I could definitely see this being some kind of a shirt you'd pick up at a fictional amusement park. My only complaint is that I wish the symbolism on it was a bit stronger. What does the imagery here tell you? Well, nothing really. The roller coaster tracks fit the amusement park, but it wrapping around the mouth feels random. That being said, they got the copyright at the bottom, and again, I think that's pretty in character for a shirt you would pick up at an amusement park. The third and last print is what I have the most issue with. First of all, I just don't like the print. This is a literal impact font meme with huge letters at the top and bottom with an image in the middle. Secondly, the image itself. It's far too busy and jumbled to create any kind of impact or convey any intention. The text is small, and the body language of the newscasters doesn't in any way really fit the subject, but that might be subjective. What's not subjective though is the absolute size of the website plug, and that's my biggest complaint with this print. To begin with, this is basically an advertisement you're wearing for the website, which, I don't know about you, but that's not really something I'd like to own or wear out in public. Additionally, and this links back to the URL issue, let's do a hypothetical. You're out and about with this hoodie on, someone sees you, and they're interested. They really like ARGs too, or spooky stuff, and they want to know what happened. What is all this about? I need to know more. And so they take out their phone and look up the URL on your shirt. Well, what do they find? Info, lore, the archives? No, they find the web shop. They find out where they can also get your really cool walking advertisement hoodie. You might say, well, if they scroll to the bottom of the page, they can find a link to the actual lore. But who's going to do that when they just found a storefront? They'll just think the link leads to some mission statement or business plan. And this illustrates my main problem with Liminal Land. I think the priorities are inverted. I can't tell for sure, of course, I don't know what goes on in their minds, but this project conveys the feeling that this is a merch line first and the rest is just an additional incentive to get you to buy. Again, I feel it should be the other way around, and if it isn't, they should at least pretend it is. To wrap things up, the backrooms and by extent liminal spaces are in a tough spot right now. A lot of people, including myself, feel like the concept has lost its way or is in the process of losing its way. Going from a simple and intriguing concept to a survival video game concept with a ridiculous amount of levels and bizarre additions like almond water, which functions like a resource for your sanity meter or whatever. Be sure to stock up on your goofy nut water before exploring this maddening, effectively infinite space, which is neither maddening nor infinite anymore. I want to say that this might be a bit of an over-the-top title for what I'm trying to illustrate, but I think when you make a project like this by big creators in the space about a beloved concept and then be so money or business focused about it as it seems to present itself, this might very well be what kills the concept forever. I really hope they make some changes to the perceived focus of this project, since honestly, it has a lot of potential and liminal spaces could really use a refreshing take from two huge creators in this space. That's about all I have to say about the subject. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree, and any additional thoughts you might have about Liminal Land. Take care.